Oh, hey, there we go. 5:35 a.m. Let's see what the sound's like here on this stream now. Everything seems to be working. Good. I can take a seat and we can have a chat and we can get to work. Good morning, friends. Thanks for dropping by. And if you're dropping by, go ahead, say hi in chat. Let me know that you're watching. Let me know how you're doing. For those of you who are watching, my name is Toby. I am 41 years old and I train to live an active, self-sufficient and adventurous life at 40, at 50, and hopefully beyond that as well. And I stream my workouts and I talk about all of the challenges that entails because, boy, that's a lot harder than I thought it would be. So I guess it's important to keep that in mind, that there are just challenges that come along as we age when it comes to staying fit and staying healthy. And we need to be mindful of those. YouTube Punk, thanks for dropping by. That's correct because you're on my vertical stream. But if you go over to my channel, to my regular stream, then you will have perfect audio quality. I hope you're doing well. So we let's see. Why am I doing this? This is about the way I feel, not about the way I look. I would like to feel fit, capable, and competent for whatever life is going to throw at me, and life could probably throw a lot at me. I'm sure of that. I have understood that we might live to be 70, probably 80, likely 90, maybe 100, who knows. But getting to 70 and being fit, capable, and able is something that I am very vested in. Getting to 80, healthy, fit, and capable is something that I'm very interested in. Getting to 90, fit, capable, and able is something that would be nice to have. I think beyond 90, there's not a lot of worries anymore because, it doesn't get much better than that. I think getting to 100 in good health and capable with all our faculties intact is probably going to be a great achievement. And that is what this is about. So I have no intention or desire to look like a fitness model, train like a fitness model, act like a fitness model. I have every intention to do what it takes to stay fit, healthy, competent, and capable for living an active, adventurous, and independent or self-sufficient life. Now, if that's something you're interested in, you can go over to my channel and check out all of the things that I talk about. I live stream my workouts. I have a podcast where I talk about different topics. We'll talk about those topics in a moment. And I make videos and vlogs about where I am on my journey in my 40s, headed for being fit at 50. It started off my early 30s as being fit at 40. I made it to being fit at 40. Now let's see if I can make it to being fit at 50. And the nice thing about this is that every day I'm learning new things. And every day I learn new things, I also realize that there is a lot to learn about health and fitness. It's complex but not complicated, but the basics are relatively simple. And it's a matter of figuring out how to fit those basics into our lives, which is what I talk about on the channel. It is 5:39 a.m. I do this workout routine because I have to do it before the kids wake up. Once the kids wake up, I have to be a father and I have a lot of things to do. So this is the 1.5 hour in the morning where I have some time to do some things that are good for me, that are me focused. Like last night we had to do our taxes, for example. like I said, if you're interested, you need to go ahead and hit like, subscribe on my channel. That would be very helpful. Let me know something in the comments. YouTube Bunk, indeed, Toey time. I think that is the way I might put it for myself. And by the way, I hope you're doing well where you're at in the world, and I hope life is treating you well, you and your family. Today we're going to do some mobility. Yesterday we did kettlebell. Today we're doing mobility. I went for a run on Sunday to see how my foot was doing. My foot was doing fine on Sunday, but now it just noticeably feels a bit stiff or agitated. I don't know what's wrong with it. Luckily, I do have an appointment with the foot specialist today, so we can have a conversation about my foot, because it's hard to go running without feet that work well, but it's also just irritating and annoying. It's also difficult to go for walks, like what can I do, what can't I do. I would like to better understand what's going on. That being said, it's 5:41 a.m. I'm going to hit the timer, and we're going to get started with, a full body mobility routine. All right, and if in the meantime you have any questions, you can go ahead and ask me, and we can have a conversation about whatever it is that you want to talk about in terms of health, fitness, kettlebell, and longevity. I've also changed the podcast schedule a bit, so I'm going to be recording the podcasts on the weekends, because throughout the week I just find I cannot fit in that many activities in the week, in the morning routine. There are other things that I would like to see to Monday through Friday. So Saturday and Sunday will be the day that you will find me in my kitchen, and I might flip those days around. Like I might pick a Tuesday and a Thursday as a day for the podcast. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it out loud, I think maybe that is even better, as the days, but I'm going to stick to Saturday and Sunday because of my life and work schedule. It simply is what it is. So hey, look, we work out, we're training, we're trying to stay fit, trying to stay healthy, right? Doing all these things. We're not seeing any progress. At least you could say with me that physically I have been relatively stable for a relatively long time. And then you start wondering, well, hey, shouldn't I? Right? Shouldn't I be starting to look like an Instagram or TikTok model at this time? I mean, we've been training for 2 years. We've been trying to get fit and healthy, and we are. And why do we just look normal? Because this is what normal health and fitness looks like. All right? If you don't diet yourself down to 10% body fat, if you don't overeat protein with the goal of packing on muscle, if you don't lift incredibly heavy weights, not even incredibly heavy weights, but just progressively overload continuously with those heavy weights to provide the muscles with the stimulus to grow within a certain rep ranges, if you're not training specifically for hypertrophy, you're going to end up with a body that has a low but fat percentage that is greater than 10%, surely. And you're going to see that you put on muscle. You put on a lot of muscle, actually. But that being generally fit and healthy has very little to do with how we look. And it has a lot to do with what we do and how we live. And I think it is just important for us all to realize and understand and you'll see me start to add in some more and different exercises to the routine. As we do want to keep challenging our bodies to develop and move better. You can just tell here that the right shoulder, for example, is going to require some more help and assistance in terms of finding its range of motion and its mobility. But that is completely fine. Look. Subtle wrists, subtle ankles. It's all important. And I guess in about 6 months, so we're going to look back into windmills and arm bars with the kettlebell and see if we can't bring them back into routines, because I want to teach our body how to move and keep moving. And there is just so much interesting stuff to learn. So hey, you know, what's on your mind about health and fitness? What is something that you are thinking about, wondering about, that we are trying to stay ahead of and stay aware of when it comes to how we are doing in terms of our health and our fitness and our well-being. Because I know it's hard to wrap our heads around, but it's really the case that in our life and in the way we live today, the health and well-being that we experience is very much determined by the environment we're in. And the environment we're in is very, very, very obesogenic. So it's not like we have to work very hard to Oh, YouTube Punk, I have some messages to catch up on there. Let me just finish this set of exercises. And I'll go over and read what it is you are letting me know. This is meal prep, high protein meals you can make all week and eat throughout the week. Weird honking sound. Your countdown timer. Yes, I think that is the buzz of the countdown timer that you're hearing. Yeah, meal prep. That's actually an interesting one because meal prep. Those are a couple of cats. I think having it out, by the way. But meal prep is an interesting one, right? Because in the end, meal prep is a great way to control part of the environment, specifically around what we eat, how much we eat, how frequently we eat. I think the simplest meal prep that I used to do was literally just boiling rice, enough for 3 days, putting some potatoes in the oven, so we have our carbs there. Sweet potatoes better than regular potatoes, or a mix is fine. And then actually looking at a lean protein source like chicken or turkey or white fish and figuring out what kind of seasoning I can add to create some flavor without it being absolutely, just chicken and that's it, or fish and that's it. Usually fish, a slice of lemon, some salt will do the trick. There are interesting spices available for chicken and turkey, and making a good portion of that, whether that's sliced or a whole breast or fillet, but not the chicken thighs. So when you have chicken, you have different cuts of chicken. You want to have the skin off, first of all, but you also want to have an understanding of the different cuts. Chicken breast obviously is the leanest one that you want to do. You want to keep in mind. And then in terms of the vegetables, you can either toss a salad, right, which is probably going to be a good start, or saute, even though that involves oil, some broccoli or some string beans. But there are different green options available. You can also just chop a whole bunch of vegetables, add them to the oven, season, go easy on the olive oil, but don't necessarily skip it because it is already a relatively lean meal. Yeah, especially if you're also putting the chicken in the oven. So, one serving of olive oil, what is it? 8 to 12 milliliters. A tablespoon does contain some fats, but we need fats. And then you have what you might consider a relatively you might see I'm trying to learn some new moves here, but it's not as easy as it looks on the video. Up. There. Sit down in that deep squat. Alright, so but those are the basics of meal prepping. To get some variety in there, different types of meats, different types of vegetables, different types of carbohydrates, just to keep it a bit fresh and exciting. And that's one meal a day taken care of. So if you standardize breakfast and you standardize one meal that you can eat throughout the day, that leaves one more meal to care for. And it also helps, with choice paralysis or choice fatigue, because that's what you eat for breakfast, that's what you eat for lunch. And then between lunch and dinner is where you have maybe a bit of leeway in terms of the snacks that you are trying to avoid or have altogether, because you're in charge of your energy balance now with your first 2 meals. So you have a better grasp of what you can and cannot actually consume. So keep that in mind. And I hope that's helpful and useful, even on the playback, because you understand you're off camera for a moment. So yeah, here we are. If you're thinking about health and fitness, I think meal prepping is definitely a part of the equation, especially if you have the goal of shedding some excess fat that you are currently carrying around. I don't think meal prepping is something, I think some people do it for longer stretches of time, but I think if you're able to meal prep for a month and exercise that level of control for 30 days, you're already going to see a huge difference in terms of what you are consuming in foods, and that will always become noticeable. in terms of the health outcomes that you are seeking. So I have a feeling I need to bump some more air into that thing. Up. And we're finding ways to alternate. Still get back to McGill's Big Three. Different core dynamics here. But we do want to make sure that we work on that stable core. In different ways. And just nothing crazy, nothing out of the ordinary, but we are simply working on our health and fitness. And we are trying to get as fit and healthy as we can be. And I think that that is it for today. So we've hit our 30-minute mark, and we're good in terms of where we're at for today. Just take a minute, sit down, relax, catch our breath, enjoy the feeling of this relatively mild activity. We haven't done anything special. We haven't strained ourselves. We've simply used our body in a way that it is intended to be used. And we have told our muscles that there are things that they can do that we want them to stay capable of doing. And that's what we're going to keep working on. All right, friends? Remember, we're good just the way we are. We've got to love ourselves before we can move on. It's the person we are today who's going to get us to where we want to be tomorrow. So a bit of kindness is going to go a long way. There are enough people out there who want to put us down, so we lift ourselves up. Health, fitness, longevity, kettlebell is about consistency, is about mastery, is about coming to terms with who we are, and about figuring out what works for us in relation to our goals and our desires and the demands, the commitments, and the responsibilities that we have in life. There's no pressure, there's no time frame for figuring this out. We take simple steps. We look at our sleep, we look at how we eat, we look at how well we move, we look at our connections and our friendships, we look at the things that we do for pleasure, that we are mastering, and we create a full package of lifestyle activities that all contribute to our general health, fitness, and well-being. Okay? It's as simple as that. And we break down all of those steps every day, one step at a time. Now, the only way to get anything done, friend, is by showing up and doing the work. YouTube punk, I appreciate you. As many calories as you'd burn in 30 minutes, my friend. And I appreciate you dropping by. You take care. Be well. Stay well in Texas. All right? And remember, everyone else is watching. Drop by, subscribe, check out my channel, hit like, leave a thumbs up. And I appreciate you dropping by and saying hi over here. Be well, friends. And everyone here on the stream, remember to subscribe.